Check your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin. Chris?
That's what happens with dry air. Sometimes we find ourselves well removed from the storm itself, but you're actually under some of the heaviest rainfall. We saw that last season. I believe it was Marco that we had the center of it right over southeast Louisiana, but the heaviest of the rainfall was several hundred miles off to the east, and that is exactly what's set up with this storm. It was well organized as it just moved on land early this morning, but then once the dry air started to take over, it pushed all the heavier rainfall away from the center, and so now the center is totally exposed with the brighter cloud tops. The heavier storms now well off to the east and weakening. Now that does not mean that there is no cloud cover or any rainfall between southeast Louisiana and the storm center. It's just that what rain and clouds are not very intense. Now what's likely to happen is that circulation is going to slowly drift into Louisiana and then eventually dissipate. I wouldn't pay too much to any kind of a track at this point because it's going to be just that broad circulation staying off to our west. However, keep in mind that dry air is still pushing the bulk of the rainfall to our east. But as I said, there are still some bands of showers, and at times we do find some minor training. We have a little flash flood warning near Lake Charles because of one of those type of bands, and it's still possible that we could see that setting up over us. But the idea of any widespread flooding just does not really look like it is going to come to fruition, as the bulk of the rainfall moving out and weakening, and any additional rainfall would likely be more localized in nature. So you see that we don't really have those intense storms any longer like we did earlier this morning. Most of those intense rains are gone as the drier air has really played a huge role in weakening the storm, and also for the sake of folks in Texas pushing the heaviest of the rainfall away. That dry air is still working its way around that center of circulation, and it does look like steadily through the day tomorrow. Not that we're going to be rain-free, but the drier air will start to put a cap on how much rainfall accumulation that we would see, as it'll kind of weaken the intensity of most of those storms. And maybe some tropical moisture trying to work its way back in toward the end of the week, but at least as far as the circulation or remnants thereof of Nicholas over the next couple of days, we're not going to see those intense rains, and we really didn't see too much of that. So far, rainfall totals have been manageable over the course of the day. 2¼ inches of rain downtown. Kenner, almost 2 inches of rainfall, yet you go down toward Galliano, 1/10 of an inch, a little more than 1¼ inches at Slidell, not even a 3/4 of an inch of rainfall at Bogalusa. Now the radar estimate shows kind of a widespread area of 1 to 3 inches with some very localized 3 to 6 inches of rainfall. That would cause some minor flooding, but overall 1 to 3 inches through the course of the day is not all that bad. Just kind of an interesting note, even with our tropical rainfall today, the month of September, we actually have a rain deficit of ½ inch. Now for the year, we're over 2 feet above normal. Flash flood watch will remain in effect, though it is not going to be a widespread issue. There is certainly some isolated flooding that could occur if we see any of those bands setting up, which we have seen over southwest Louisiana. And so it is possible with localized flooding and maybe some rainfall even lingering into Thursday. Another concern has been the winds. Now near the center, Lake Charles winds are sustained at 22 miles an hour, gusting up to 35. And as that circulation kind of moves in our direction, we could see our winds pick up a bit, but we are not looking at very strong winds at all. However, as that center of circulation kind of moves our way, there is still going to be a risk tomorrow of maybe some tornadic storms. Thankfully, didn't see any today. That risk, albeit low, is still there for tomorrow. Overcast skies and rainfall kept our temperatures down. We stayed in the 70s all day today, only topping out at 81 degrees right after midnight, and maybe kind of a repeat tomorrow. Fewer showers, but mostly cloudy Thursday and Friday, and then we're back to more scattered showers as we head into the weekend and early next week. Unfortunately, no dry weather in sight.